Hello. Once again, I'm a couple minutes early. That's okay. Gives us time to get our act together here. Get my coffee cup out of the way. Get my keyboard out of the way. My wax. Okay, where is this? There we are. There we are. So anybody who's just coming to this channel, yeah, it's about this disorganized. Hi, Ronnie. Ronnie's here. Yay! Hopefully today we'll stay on and we won't have an intermittent break because we never did figure out why we had the intermittent break. Marjo, good to see you. Janet P, good to see you too. Here we go. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Holly. I don't know if you guys watched the Tarot Love Connection, but they had an angel show. They had Andrea and I and a couple of other readers were on there. We were talking because Sunday was Angel Day. It was Saturday night. And they wanted to give away something, so they asked me. And I said, sure, we'll give away a garden. So you had to get, it was a raffle. You had to pay $1 to get into the raffle. So they got $150 to help support. I don't know if you've been to that channel, but they have a lot of different readers there. And I know this is kind of a tricky question for some people, but readers need to be paid at some point or another. I'm using all this time I'm spending with you guys to improve the quality of my garden and to learn about it. Glad you're here, Angelita. And one of the things I've had to explain to so many readers and people I've trained in how to read is there's an exchange of energy when you read. And unfortunately in our society, a lot of how exchanges are measured is with money. And so it's important for people to understand that readers need to be compensated. Now, some readers work on swap outs. That's how I got my reading from Sheila. And I got a free reading from Andrea by giving them their grids. But anyway, the lady who won the garden lives 9 miles from me. So she sent me her address. And what I'm hoping to do is, actually she and I made an appointment. I'm going to drop it off at her house tomorrow because she's right down by my favorite wine bar. Yes, if you're going to live anywhere in Dallas, live near that wine bar. So I'm going to drop her garden off. And they made $150, I think, which will all go to paying other readers or maybe paying me if someone chooses to get a reading from me. And I have got chat on 2 different places. Oh, okay, it's the same chat. I've got chat below and I've got chat to the side. I don't know how that's happening. Tech support's coming home tonight. Yes. Can't wait. Let's see. So today we are doing Lost and Found. And for those of you who have been following this saga, I would get every day, I'd get reports and I'd see the comments under my show and I'd go through and give them hearts and make comments and things. But I just found out that there was a whole lot of comments that never came to me. I don't know where YouTube took them, but they weren't where they needed to be. So I contacted YouTube and they went in and they said, oops. First of all, I gained 30 followers, subscribers. I don't know how you get to the channel. I was on it. It's like, that's kind of a different world to me. But anyway, the bottom line was that they now have $150 to be able to give to people to have readings. And she's going to have a little form you fill out. And readers, I think, are doing them for somewhat of a discount. But I do readings, and I'm going to get into that today when I go through my YouTube Lost and Found, because several of the questions that people put in there were about kinds of readings and types of readings, and we'll talk about that. This is the show today, and we have clarity between the past and things that are emerging. My mind is moving off into new directions, but this is what's really cool. This is releasing into the future, and it's my body. and it's my value system. And the spiritual part of me ended up between solar plexus and heart. And solar plexus is the energy that we developed in our body to make an idea go forward, and heart is where we bring that forward, and it really energizes it up into our throat, into our third eye, and into our crown chakra. So this reading says that I'm clarifying things from my past. New things are coming towards me. My mind is clearing out, moving forward, and ideas I've had are clarifying, are moving out and moving forward. And also, this means this is sort of like moving away from. This is like things that are moving into the future. It's my body and my values, and that's kind of for all of us today. And that's a really good reading. I'm going to go back to the garden, but I'm sorry, I can leave the garden there because I'm here. So that's why the garden's there. Our card for the day, our crystal for the card for the day is, can you see it? Okay. It's pymorphite, and it's a beautiful lime green. You can't see it, but it's really, really very lime green. It assists in creating more patience, allowing for deeper tolerance and understanding. I pulled this right after I realized I was doing all this stuff where YouTube had lost all my stuff. So that took patience and understanding from me. Deepens your intuitions and your gut feeling, encourages your assertiveness and courage, supports you as you stand up for yourself, addresses issues of low self-esteem. So if you've been looking and people write me about low self-esteem, what can I find? I didn't know about this card, but I didn't know about this crystal, but they sell tiny ones on Etsy, and I saw some that were as cheap as $10. And it promotes deeper belief and respect in yourself. So that's pyromorphite. And it's a form of apatite, which is a certain kind of crystal. That means it forms itself in little bitty squares. It's the solar plexus in the heart, which is where my spirit ended up today, quite apart from the card. And it holds a medicine for self-esteem and assertiveness. Well, I've never had kind of problems with assertiveness. I'll assert pretty much anything. But then I wanted to pull 2 cards for myself today because I do this every day. And I pulled I don't know if you can see it, it's the Ten of Gabriel. And the story on this Ten of Gabriel is that is the equivalent of the Ten of Wands. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's Cinderella right before the fairy godmother gives her the dress and helps her get out. And you know, the Ten of Wands means dropping your wands and getting rid. It's ask your angels for helpful people to lighten your load, working too many hours, trying too hard to please others. And that's kind of where I felt until yesterday. I decided I was going to sit all afternoon and knit, which is a meditation for me. So I did a lot of knitting. And so today I woke up to the Two of Gabriel, which is walking with friends and going to a new place. And that's a beautiful card. It's 2 people walking down a beach near water. Water is always means emotion. Making bold decisions and choices. Great progress is possible. Important relationships with people with whom you share a vision. And I always sort of think of myself as sharing a vision with the people who are part of my group. Yeah, please everybody hit thumbs up. That helps me. Then they send my thing out more. They think people should watch this. So, I've done the card I picked for the day, which was a pyromorphite, which is patience, assists with patience, and boy have I needed that with YouTube. Then, what I did is, I found last week that I was not getting all the comments from YouTube I thought I was getting, so I went looking for them, and I ended up writing out, spent 4 hours going through and writing out themes and questions that had come up, because I had people who'd been out there 7 months without a response. If you are one of those people, I hope you will be patient with me as the pyromorphite's asking us to do. But these are notes from the different shows. You know, I did a show on runes, and someone told me there was an author named Tyrulian, it's Tylluan, Penry, and she's an author, and she works through a publisher in Britain called Wolf's Howl, and she covers a whole lot of topics about energy and spirit worship and things that have come from Neolithic times through into the Middle Ages. And I looked at some of her stuff. It looks kind of interesting. So that might be a name to keep in the back of your pocket. I had a question about dreams. And this person, a couple people mentioned, I have dreams and I'm always by water. What's going on? Well, my experience with dreams and water and the image of water in that is that it means emotions. And when I'm doing the map out, and if you've got the garden and you're going to get, I'll get into that. But if you got the garden, and I'm writing up each of these sections, whenever water appears, it means that emotions is part of the answer. Just like water in this carries you forward, water is to the west. It's your emotions are going to help you move forward. That's what it means to me. Think about that in terms of what your dream was about and see if that works. Okay, the most popular kind of overall question was soulmate. When will I find the one? Where is the one? What sign can I find that tells me about the one? Honestly, I'll tell you, you have to become your own one. You have to become the one that the most attractive you that you can be at that point in time. And then you will find someone who is worthy of being with you. That's how you find the one. And there's not kind of another way to have that manifest and come into your life. I used to always say that I met really on both my husbands when I was on a celibacy strike, and I was just like, and I don't mean not just going out and messing around. I mean, I just wasn't dating. I wasn't going near anybody. I was just doing my own thing, being who I was. And then a person that kind of fit with me having that energy popped up. For you, it will be different. I mean, everyone's going to be different, but this idea that there is the one for you is kind of a thing that I think sometimes people come up with that one to keep people coming back. It's kind of like baiting about politics. It's to keep you in line, keep feeding, I'm not enough. Never, ever, ever are you going to find the one when you think you're not enough. So, hi, Terrynner. Melissa Miller knows all about Terryllian Penry. Yes, Anglo-Saxon runes and academically gifted. She has a large book about runes, very balanced. And someone had suggested that her book was a little more balanced than the book I have because I don't know where he went for his information, but I find any reference you can find that you can relate to, that's the one you need to hold on to. So anyway, that's my answer to soulmates. When you are your own soulmate, then you will find another soulmate. Okay. If you missed it, Andrea and I did a show on palms on Friday, I think we ran it. And it was really interesting, and the responses to it were very, very interesting. And so she and I are going to try to work out something about palms again. We're trying to figure out a way to get copies of palms so we could read them. But a lot of the reading I do when it's something like that, I would almost want to do it responsively with someone. But a lot of people wrote about mixed dexterity. And if you don't know what mixed dexterity is, it means maybe you're right-handed, but your majority eye is your left eye, and that can cause you to have vertigo problems as an adult. If you're left-handed and they forced you to be right-handed, among other things, your handwriting will be terrible because that's what happened to my father. But the other problem is that it can mix up your ability to read. That did not happen to him. My whole family had mixed dexterity. My older brother could bat right or left-handed, which always screwed everybody up in Little League. He never went into playing baseball in any way professionally. He could also pitch right and left-handed and do it accurately with both. I am right-handed, this side, but left-footed, and we didn't know that till I was in high school, and I was in an outdoor, when you have to jump over the poles, and I'd come up to it with my right, and I could not make it over that damn pole, and finally the teacher said, go over and get in the Go back and get in the other line. I'll answer your question in a minute, Terry. Um, uh, and so she put me in the left-footed line, and I ran and I just jumped over the pole. And she said, "You have mixed dexterity." My whole family was riddled with it. The saddest part was my sister had it, and when she was a computer programmer way before there were things like languages, like BASIC. She used to program in what they called machine, which means the zeros and ones. She programmed in that. She went to work for the Smithsonian, did that, and she worked with so many detailed pages, and they didn't realize it, but she was really left-handed. And she is, like most little good children, when I was in school, you wrote with your right hand because your teacher told you to. And she eventually started falling, and she fell so many times her shins were cut so many times that at the ER they told her they had to figure out why she was falling down. And she was falling down because she was left-handed and doing all this detailed work. She had to go to a special school and learn to write with her left hand, and as soon as she did that, the falling down stopped. So mixed dexterities, my family, I know all about that. So if you have mixed dexterities in your family, look it up. It can lead to some really fun things you can do. You can do it with both hands. Other things you can only do it with one hand. I don't know if you guys know Alton Brown, the chef, he can draw with both his right and his left hand at the same time, two different pictures. It's really fascinating. He does it sometimes on his shows. Okay, one woman said that she'd gone to a palmist who told her she had a mark from another planet. I'd Google that. I don't know anything about marks from other planets. Hope you can figure it out. Be interesting to know. And then I had another person who suggested that Andrea and I try to read people's palm prints because she had a friend who did them from Xeroxes. And that would be okay. Now, I have a question off the screen, and it's Terrynner, and she said, her selenite wand broke. What do? I can feel the larger piece. The smaller tip is a little bit empty. You can respect them for both of who they are. I don't know where they split or how they split, and I don't know if you're talking about one of those rolled wands that's like a rolled thing, or if you got a selenite wand that's just the natural wand. They are saline. They are made selenites basically out of the same mineral as salt. They are kind of fragile, and they do have natural fractures in them. Probably just did what it wanted to do. So, am I still on? Because I haven't had a chat, and it says refresh chat. Okay. Okay, yeah, it stopped for some reason. Okay. Yep, it's back, I think. Um, I don't know. Am I still live? Can anybody tell me? Oh, okay. Oh, you had it in the full moon? Okay. You can see and hear me. I'm getting weird messages on my end that says I'm not part of the chat. I will do a thing on ogham sticks. I will make a note of that. I will look them up and find out what they are. And I always love learning about things. Okay, now, more lost and found. I got several questions about opening up chakras, relieving chakras, and the way I started working with opening my chakras was I found a little meditation program, and it had one that went through all of the chakras from the base up, and it had them as swirling lotus leaves. I started doing that 3 years ago when I started opening my chakras up. And I also found some books. I read some articles. I did a lot of looking on YouTube. And so I had a couple of people ask me about opening up their chakras, and when I have the eggs, each of the eggs will have a chakra it's intended to work with. It can actually work with all of them just through that particular one, but I've been working with the idea of chakras and realigning which crystals are going to be in it and how to work with all that. And so I I find that if just go through YouTube, and if you start listening to one and the music doesn't appeal to you or the person's voices creeps you out, go find the one that appeals to you. Go find the one that appeals to you. And then soulmate, sincerity. Someone had her husband's head and heartline, she said, was in a weird place, but she didn't tell me where, so I can't help you with that. Sorry about that. Okay, now we're getting to personal questions. And not just kind of universal ones, and also statements people made from watching shows I'd done. Personal question, what should I put my efforts into? So we're going to do a roll on this, and this is kind of to everybody who has that question right now. What should I put my energy into? Ooh, okay. Well, clearly, the one that's most stunning is this one, which is, yep, there they go. Okay. It's that your pyrite, your values are in the heart chakra. So right now, all of us need to put our values where our heart is, and that's going to give us the most things to move forward. Also, the path forward is our body, and that's going to come up later in my questions, because I got several people who wanted to know about spiritual development and weight loss. Our mind is what's going to free us, clearing our mind, not being, and remember, it's body, mind, and spirit, and mind is part of how we work with our life, but it's not all of our life, and our spirit is also involved with air, and air is the clearing out, the moving forward energy. We are learning from our past, but we're not, our clarifications don't come completely from the past, but they can come from past lives. And I have a couple questions about that showed up. So your best path forward is to look inside your own heart, and wherever your body, whenever you get tingles about thinking about something, that's your best path forward. Someone also asked me about good spiritual habits. One woman who, has a garden, and I guess she rolls like a crystal a day. And she had just started, she'd found an exercise buddy. It's actually her daughter. She and her daughter are going out walking. They've decided to make some commitments about how they eat, how they kind of cleaning their life up that way. And she came home that day, the first day she and her daughter went out and walked. And she said she rolled the pyrite, which is your values, into the garden, and it said, go for it. It said, where you are is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. As you know, if you've watched my show about go for it is that's the big yes on this board. It's like, go for it. And so that's a spiritual practice you can use. I showed you a spiritual practice I do. I pull 2 tarot cards a day. Or you can pull two oracle cards. You can sit down and decide to come up with 2 images of what you need to know. Libra lady, I know it's like to work with emails. Yuck. Okay. So those are 2 spiritual practices you can have. Spiritual habits can be just sitting quietly for a few minutes in the morning, or later in the afternoon with a cup of tea, or something else that refreshes you. Preferably not alcoholic, because some of the images from alcohol are not the most positive. But be open-ended. I mean, listen to different people. Listen to Eckhart Tolle, listen to Joe Dispenza, go through YouTube, type in a topic you're interested in, and see who shows up. There's a guy who's called Attract Passion. I think he's either Dutch or German. I can't really tell from his accent, but he has some real interesting observations. I enjoy listening to him while I'm making breakfast in the morning. Anything like that where you can get good, positive energy in. I used to listen to a lot of news in the morning. I find out that's not the best way to start my day. I know about the news, and I read about the news. I find reading the news means you can take it in and really consider what you're hearing. But those are kind of spiritual habits I've developed. If you have a crystal you like, hold it in your hand. If you have an image you like, look at it. I know I have somebody who says she has a crystal grid for me. She talks to her crystal grid every day and kind of reports in what's going on. Whatever works. Crystals. Oh, crystals. I got 2 crystals questions specific, and one was crystals for business. And the best crystals for business, I'm giving you guys a lot of information here. The best crystals for business are citrine, and that's ancient. In the Middle Ages, every single merchant would carry a citrine stone with them. And oh dear. Ah! My garden said, don't leave us. I knew it was here. No, it's not. I normally have a big citrine, and I don't know where I'd let it wander to. But it's a bright yellow clear stone, and it's really cool. And this is actually citrine, but it's not clear. But this would work for carrying around for business. Every merchant in the ancient times, that's why it was one of the first stones I owned. I used to have it on my table every time I read. It looks kind of like a quartz thing, but it's got gold in it. They carried that because they believed that like draws like, and the gold would draw gold to them. The other one that's known for business is green aventurine. And green aventurine is, it's a beautiful stone. It's not a dark green. It's kind of a mid-range limey green. And it is really good for helping bring in good luck. And then, of course, the all-time favorite quartz crystal for everything is quartz. Then people said, how do I clear my chakras? Which goes back up to organizing your chakras. Okay. We're going to go. The 2 that are they can go in any chakra is clear quartz. Clear quartz can go anywhere in your body, but clear quartz and amethyst. Amethyst also, and this is amethyst. And this is a quartz. So this is, and it doesn't have to be, it could be this kind of quartz, but those sorts of crystals are great for clearing your energy. After those 2, specific to the chakra, at the root chakra, the most common ones I found, and I have lists and lists and lists of these, but these are the 3 top. Hematite, obsidian, and red jasper for the base chakra. For the sacral chakra, it's carnelian, blue-gray turquoise. It's for the sacral chakra. The solar plexus, which is the one that's the one that sort of looks like a little solar system right under your rib cage. That's citrine and also tiger's eye. The heart chakra is rose quartz, green aventurine, and also in my heart chakra eggs I have green moss agate because it's sort of like breeze. It sort of filters the air. So I have that one there, and that was one I channeled in. That's not always in the books. The throat chakra is sodalite. This one, that's why I chose it for clarity on the board. And amazonite, which is a really beautiful blue stone. It almost looks like turquoise. It's a real good stone also for anxiety. So if you have a lot of trouble speaking, amazonite's good for those who have trouble speaking. Then for the third eye, it's blue apatite and tanzanite, and really also amethyst will open up your third eye. And then for the crown chakra, it's quartz, Herkimer diamonds, which are the purest form of quartz in the world, and they come from Herkimer, New York. If you live in New York State, you know where that is. It's in upstate New York. And clear quartz will also, a really, really clear quartz will also work for your crown chakra. So, does he live in, okay, I knew he lived in, somebody just said that Attract Passion lives in Slovenia or the Lithuanian area. I knew he had that kind of a Middle European accent. Okay, now, when people have talked about things where I've talked about visions I've had from the garden or visions that I've had in my life, a woman wrote me, and this is like almost 6 months old. She began to diet and exercise with her partner. Okay, that was just, I just told you that when she threw pyrite. There's also another woman who wrote me 3 or 4 months ago, and she said, I feel like your twin. She used to weigh 270 pounds. She's now down to 145. She's 63 years old. She did it by realigning her spirit first, the same way I did. And she didn't do a specific diet. Once she got her spirit aligned, she got everything sort of straightened out. So that was her suggestion. I found keto works. I'm going to talk some more about weight loss and spirituality. There's a new channel at a guy who does a lot of good keto recipes. He's just started a weight loss through spiritual channel, and when I can remember the link, I'll put it in here for you. I'll tell you about it. Okay, specific questions. A woman that wanted to know if her eldest son would find peace and come to visit her again. So we're going to look at her eldest son. You go here. You go here. That's right. This is Serpentine. It got off the corner. Okay. This is for the woman who asked specifically, her eldest son will find peace and come to visit. You need to talk to him truthfully about things that he's asked you about. You sense he's coming towards you. The problem is too often how you speak with each other and how you spiritually connect is trapped up in your past. But you got the Power Stone. You got your body is in earth, fire, water, and air. This really means it's moving forward. I think he is going to come and speak to you because you got the value stones, the pyrite, how you body, mind, spirit, and your values are here, and it's going from water into the truth. I think he's coming towards you. I tell you the truth, when I read this question, I didn't know if your son had passed or if he was here in this life. When I look at this, I think I still don't know. That would be a question I would have for you. But if he's passed on and you don't feel him around you, let me see. I'm going to get out my dead people cards. See if he's passed. This is Talking to Heaven by James Van Praagh. For those of you who are interested, or maybe it's easier to see it here, by James Van Praagh. Let's see. Is your son passed? When I first read this question, I was like, is he passed and he just doesn't come visit her and she didn't feel him around her? Or what was the deal? So let's see. Is he passed? This card. Oh. I don't think, if he's not passed, I'm not wishing him dead. But if he is passed, his death was painless, or whatever's going on around him was painless. Don't worry, don't hold on to any guilt. And he says you will be together again. Now that card would tie together with what I saw here, is when you open up your mind to it, you can let him in. Okay, thank you, love and peace. I really appreciate I don't do voodoo. That's sort of bad juju in my world, but thank you. I do woo-woo, not voodoo. If he is passed, he will be coming towards you again, and he wants you to feel that you should have no guilt about what happened around him. If your son hasn't passed, I picked up somebody else's son who really wants to get in touch with her. And here's a question. I hope that answers your question. If you want to send me another message on my comments, and tell me what his status is, then I can get a little plainer for you on that. Okay, this was a question, and it just tore my heart out. This woman said, How do I feel worthy for the life I want? How can I feel my own worth for the life I want? Well, I'm going to tell you the first person you need to go look up on YouTube is Marissa Peer. It's Marissa. And her name is really easy. It's Peer. Peer. She's a therapist. She does little half-hour shows, so she's not going to tie you up. She does have some longer things, but if you go to her thing, she does a whole lot about letting yourself have self-worth. Because what this question, the way it was worded, screamed to me is, I don't think I'm worthy. So I'm going to see what part of your body, woo it is. Thank you, dear. No apologies needed. It's an easy mistake to make. I'm going to look at what you need to do specifically for the person who asked this question, or anybody else who feels that way that's watching this chat. Why am I not getting the messages? Why am I not blah, 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 all the things that make me feel not worthy? Let's see, for this whole group, how do we find our worth? How do we find our worth in our life as a group today? Okay. Find clarity in the future. Free our minds from things that have led us in the past. Your spirits are emerging and moving forward. So your spiritual life's really moving forward. You can find values from in your past, but don't be tied to the values of your past. And you have your body is tied to your solar plexus, and you need to dig through the energy you carry in your body and how to work it, how to restate it, how to rework with it so that it's positive, so you don't tie into the negatives. Now that's what I'm going to tell you. If you watch Marissa Peer, she's great. Hi, Skywalking with the Moon. Skywalking with the Moon, you need to get in touch with me so I can do that past life reading you want. Marissa Peer really helps you with this part, your body and restating what's going on in your past. Let me see if we pull this out without it falling over. That's where you need to work on. It's kind of like, it's like taking those negative thoughts that come from the back of your mind, weeding them out, acknowledging them, and then the next time they show up, you can squash them before they get to you again. Okay? So for everyone, this would work. For this person, it's really what you want. You're worthy right now if you let yourself go. If you don't stay tied to the 3D energies and the guilt. Okay. I'll look for it, Skywalking. If you don't let yourself get tied into those negative thoughts, and trust me, I mean, and it's every day, it's kind of a clean out the garbage pile. You know, it's like clean out the trash folder in your emails. The faster you can move them into trash, the better. And you get better at it the more you recognize it. Does that kind of, if you have another question about that, let me know. Okay, I had a malachite the other day. I started to feel sick with it. Malachite's clearly tied to your heart. It's a cleansing stone. If the malachite was pulling a lot of negative energy out of your heart, yeah, it can make you feel a little bit weak. If I get a stone that makes me feel not well, I put it down. And I hope you can do. Realign your spirit. Okay. When we come in with the soul, and there's a spark that's connected to the divine. That's the spirit. And when your chakras are clear and your energy is moving through your body, it's like moving up and down the various parts. If you think of it like a little subway station in your body, and it's moving up and down. When your spirit's aligned, it means that your spirit can move through those areas and it's not blocked anywhere. I've told the story before about part of my beginning to start my weight loss was clearing my heart chakra so that the energy could flow up and down my body. I hope that answers Melissa's question. Okay, now, the next question I got was from someone, and I know you're in the chat. You had someone talked to you about past life trauma, where apparently you were in Africa, you were an oracle, and some guy told you you couldn't be an oracle anymore, that was forbidden for you. And you've tied onto that in your brain. Let it go, girl. I'm going to roll on it, but man, no past life things that you carry in with you. If they're gifts, use them. If they're bad karma, acknowledge it and let it go. Let go of the guilt. Okay, let's see. Past life. Okay, yeah, you clearly your spirit's tied to the past. It was right between past and restate. Restate means weed out those thoughts. Your mind is just ready to go. You are ready to burst forth, and it's your heart. You need to get clarity within your heart. You can feel within your body all the essences that are the basis of our lives: the earth, the fire, the water, and the air. And your values are ready to move forward. If you will let go of that image that someone gave you, you tied into it the wrong way. When I read your question, I went, no past life can trap us like that. You've decided to stay trapped in that. Your energy is there for you to go. Someone just asked if they have a big fear of fire if they were burned. You probably do. My fear for a long time was I couldn't wear necklaces until someone put me in a past life and I saw that I'd been hung. As soon as I knew I'd been hung, I was free to go. I mean, I can wear necklaces now. So take off whatever that image was of what that old man told you, This is an interesting question. Someone asked me that they said they've always related to Anne Frank and felt like they were the reincarnation of Anne Frank. So I looked at whether this person was Anne Frank. And what I got was the Hangman, the Two of Wands, right side up, the Ten of Swords, right side up, the Tower, and the Ace of Wands. And what I got from that is, no, you were not Anne Frank, but you knew her. And I saw clear as day, you knew her as a child in Amsterdam. And if you knew her and are reincarnated and you're the age I think you are, you just turned right around. I mean, relative to how long it can take to turn around, because I think you were young when you died. And you were rounded up in Amsterdam. And that's why when you saw her picture, you recognized her, because you did know her. And the cards said, yes, it was yes, 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 yes. And the Ace of Wands tell me you came into this life with a lot of understanding and energy about the human spirit that you could only learn as a child of war. Okay, I had a bunch of people ask me about past lives and past life readings and stuff. I do past life readings. I cannot do a past life reading in this kind of show. Yeah, Marge. Ew, somebody was dumped in a pit of snakes. Yeah, I don't like snakes anyway, and I don't think I went in a pit. Okay, past life readings. If you go to my website, you can see where you can order a past life reading. The way I do a past life reading is I do a original past life reading where there's 3 cards of you now, 3 cards of that life, and there's a card in the middle about how far you are. Then I use pendulums to determine whether you're male or female in that life, and then I do a special 4x4 reading where I read about what happened to the person in the past life. And I think if you've gone back and seen any of my old shows, I did one just kind of blind saying, I'm going to show you how a past life reading goes. And it ended up, I read someone that was in the audience. She knew all about the life. She bugged me enough by email that I finally got in contact with her, and we ended up doing a show, and she was the last queen of Hawaii. And weirdly enough, she is now going to work with people in Hawaii. She's a paralegal, I think. And yeah, and no, she's a mediator, a legal mediator. And but past life readings take a lot more time, and with so many people in this room, I couldn't guarantee that the past life reading would be for you. If you want a past life reading, just get in touch with me either through my website, www.crystaldirections.com, which is in the footnotes of this. Also, my email is there, and I will get back in touch with you. Thank you, Terry. I do amazing readings. I quit being shy about my readings. I do good readings. Okay, Rosario has been out here for a while, and he wanted to know, what does his future look like? And that was just his whole question. So we're going to do Rosario's future, and I hope Rosario sees this. If not, remember, everyone can relate to part of every reading that goes on here. Well, wherever you're putting your values right now is absolutely true. Your path forward's being formed in your mind, but sometimes you talk yourself out of things, Rosario. You need to let it go and do what you need to do. Your spirit is clearly in the future. Your spirit is telling you, it is drawing you to this truth. your body's freer than it's been in a long time, and you have a lot of clarity about how to move forward. So I would say, what's the future look like for Rosario? Bright, really bright, really, really bright. I think it's a he because he said his name was Rosario, and I don't, unless he misspelled, unless it's a girl and she misspells her name. Okay, someone asked me, she said she was author of a new oracle deck. She's working on it right now. The Chicken Wisdom Oracle deck. All I said is, we really need that deck, girl. You need to go for it, do that deck, and see what's going on. I'm going to give you guys a chance to put some I'm going to give yourself a chance to put questions or comments in, and while you're doing that, I am going to tell you what's coming up. Tomorrow at this time, Medium Kim, which is Kim Copeland, who's a medium, and she's a medium that like sees people on the other side. She's really good. Her reading on me was excellent. I know Rosario's, it can be? Okay, then Rosario, I'm sorry, you're not a guy. My Spanish is like, I've been in Texas forever, and my Spanish is, and I guess it's just rude of me, but I have enough trouble with English. Medium Kim will be here tomorrow afternoon. I will send out a notice on it. She was supposed to be here yesterday. She ran into a conflict, and so what we're going to talk about, and I had to do a whole lot of research on this, was the crystallization of DNA during the ascension. But it's really a thing, and we're going to discuss it. And it's a theory that's out there about how our DNA is changing, and it ties together with a story I did a long time ago when I first started my channel about Rory Duff, who is the geobiologist, and we passed out of a part of the universe where we were protected from a lot of tiny little microparticles, and they're coming in and they are hitting our DNA. Okay, Jane the Seeker. Okay, that's that. And on the 27th, I'm having, which is Friday, Danny Shea is going to be on here live, and we are going to be discussing shamanism, which he has studied. And we're going to talk about it. So get all your shaman questions ready, because I may run out. On 8/31, which is, I believe, Tuesday, Dr. Maggie's coming back. Dr. Maggie is, her name is Dr. Maggie Doolittle. She's a pet psychic. And she's also an animal rescue person, and she's really, really good. And she's really has a lot of interesting insights into critters. Also on tap, I have Jeffrey Ripe Color. I finally got his email, so I can send him his invitation. He'll be sometime next week. And then Kim from Intuitive View is sending me her schedule, so I can schedule her. And we're going to talk about how she reads, because I know most people don't understand. She's what I call a scribbler. She uses the things she puts on paper to focus. I'm interested to hear how that works out for her, how that works with her. And anyway, we're going to Jane the Seeker. We're going to be sending. How's it going to go with her 87-year-old mom? Okay. You want to ask her some questions about the past, but a whole lot of stuff in her is moving forward. She is in a good space to discuss it with you. She's kind of at a tree of life space where she's seeing the whole universe from her whole life perspective. Her mind, does she have kind of a little bit of dementia? She sort of wanders in and out. That's what I'm seeing here. That may not be true. I think it just may be tired. But it looks positive. You've got spirit, your body, you're really there for this trip, and your emotions and your mind is in the world of emotions. So you're going to be very, very sympathetic and understanding with her, which I think may not have always been, with this being in restate, how your life was with your mom. But she's a good lady. I got a good feeling about it. What do we need to focus on at this time? Okay. The path forward is being aware of our mental state, keeping our minds clear, not letting our minds get caught up in fear, moving ahead positively. We have spirits rising and it's bringing clarity towards us. Our our values are moving forward quickly. I think this has a lot to do with ascension, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about ascension in a minute. And our body is in water, which means your body is like the best vibrational tool you have right now for what your emotions are. So listen to those gut instincts are really important. I pulled 2 cards, Libra Lady, because I have 2 cell phones and I have 2 different card functions in 2 different cell phones. So they randomly come in from my cell phones. I found a long time ago. And then what I did for y'all today was I found those cards in a deck I really like. But I have, in case you think this woman's nuts, I have a cell phone. This is my family cell phone. This is the one where friends and family that really need to get a hold of me can get a hold of me. This is a cell phone I bought when I went live on YouTube, so I could give people a different number so that I wouldn't get bugged. Years ago, I got followed home from a psychic fair by a whack job, so I'm pretty close. That's why I have a P.O. box and not my address. That's why I pulled 2 cards. Yes, Tyler Henry scribbles too, but I don't know Tyler Henry, so I can't ask him about that. Okay, wow, that's awesome. You're one of the busy lady. Yeah, right now you have no idea, spiritual seeker. As soon as this is folded up, I did spend time today on the eggs with the people that are game crafting them up in Wisconsin. My designer and I had to redesign the inside of the eggs to make them easier for them to manufacture. Okay, Angelita, okay, what would a grid reading do for you? I'm going to have a Gridapalooza, and I'm going to put a lot of my grid images up on the screen rolling so you can see them. This is like 2 weeks from now. What a grid does is a grid gives you a PowerPoint, a point, not a PowerPoint like you think of in the computer world, but a point of power in your life where you can begin to focus your energy. It's based on a reading I do for you on the day you order the grid. Then I make it out of the stones that I feel are important for you. I have a whole lot of testimonials from people about how the grids have really moved their lives forward. It's just sort of a little power battery that's running in the back of your life that helps move your energy forward. Why is a grid different from a garden? A grid works all the time. A garden works when you work with it. A grid is just there and it spins it out and it creates the energy for you. I built 90 grids in about 90 days, and then I took a vacation because that's when I started falling down and having heart things. So I have to kind of spread those things out. But I'm going to have a Gridapalooza as soon as I get the garden settled. The garden, I have most of the writing for the garden done. I have more things I need to write for it. I'm thinking all of you who are the proud owners of gardeners and are known as the Oracle Gardeners, I'm going to be sending you out a notice. I'm going to be offering classes at day and at night. There's 75 of you. I'm going to try to hold the classes to about 15 people because I want to be fair to you. These classes are free now because I'm going to learn as much from those classes as you're going to learn. You're going to teach me more than I need to know. I spent 2 hours on Sunday on the phone with Vivian in Puerto Rico about what's going on around her and her grid and her Oracle Garden and what's going on there. And that woman is just brilliant. I'm hoping she'll come on and not use an alias when she shows up. Hi, Sharon. I hope your sister's okay. And I'm hoping that I can, and then if you get in the class and if you say you can come one afternoon, but not the next, it's going to be spread over 3 weeks. There's going to be 3 classes. If you can't come one afternoon, you will be able to download it, but the only people who will be able to download it's going to be in a private channel. It's going to be password protected. You also will be able to download a PDF of the workbook. I am not going to print the workbook for everybody, nor am I going to mail it to everybody because it would be just prohibitively expensive. It cost me about $300. So it's going to be on the web. You can pull it down, and that'll give you references. That's all those pages when I talk about my visions that I saw for each one of the visions that I read to you over that 3-week period. I have now written down. Cactus Smithy, thank you for being here. Okay, we're going to talk about, I know I'm in Ascension, I'm wondering. Oh, okay, yeah, you're in Ascension, you're dizzy, that happens. You need to meditate and get centered and find a good stone that can ground you. The reason you're getting dizzy is because you're getting so much energy in your body, it's going out your head and it's not staying grounded in you. That's what I found out when I got dizzy. Grids are pretty. Yes, I have a picture that I'm going to show when I do my Gridapalooza. This woman redid her living room so she could hang the grid above her fireplace with this gorgeous Tree of Life painting she found. It's just spectacular. I mean, not because the grid's that spectacular. Her picture's really good. Oh, good, your garden got there, because I had another person today who was wondering about their garden. I was mailing them into the upper Midwest, and apparently they were going via Phoenix or something. If you email me, I'll send you all the stuff to set up a reading about the grid. You've got your grid, so yes, I will help you with the grid. Okay, give me a lovely thumbs up, and I'm going to talk about the Ascension, and then I'm going to collapse it up for the day. The second you hear about the Ascension, it's like when you buy a new car, and then all of a sudden you're driving around, even if you buy an old used car, but all of a sudden you'll see that make of car on the road. The same thing happens with the Ascension. In 2018, I was in Colorado. That was a famous weekend where I saw my first crystal grid and all the other things that happened to me. But Helene, yes, you can be open. It'll be open for all the classes, but I'm going to ask people to kind of sign up for a specific time because I want to keep 15 people in a class. Just because it just gets too confusing, and I don't want to shortchange anyone. And there are some people who are going to be fun in those classes. I know a couple of the readers you've seen on my shows that want to learn more about the garden are going to be part of those classes. So it's going to be fun. If you are in the classes, yes, you will have a free pass to go look at all the classes, because they'll all be different just because the spirit that's in them each time is different. Okay, back to the Ascension. In 2018, in October, a friend of mine started telling me about the Ascension. And I was just looked sideways at her. Of course, I'd had a couple scotches up at the hotel that's supposed to be haunted, the one that The Shining was based on. We went out there. We were driving back through the mountains. She starts telling me about this. So then later that night I said, what is it you're telling me that's going on? She starts explaining it to me again, and I'm like, okay. And my friend she also has a whole lot of connections to alien stuff, and which I also didn't pay much attention to till recently. Anyway, the bottom line was I was home back reading at times 10 on a Tuesday night, about a week after I'd been in Colorado. And someone sits down at my table, and we're just talking about other stuff, and I'm reading their cards, and they go, oh, and can you tell me all about the Ascension? And I went, huh? I mean, I'd never heard of it, and then all of a sudden a person's at my table. That happened for 4 weeks in a row. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park. That's true. That's right. That's the right place. And so I was calling my friend because she's in Denver, so I was leave at 10, and it was 9 o'clock her time, and I said, well, you got to start telling me more stuff. So she started telling me more stuff, and I was still kind of like, I don't understand this. This makes no sense to me. Finally, between 2018 and now, I have learned a whole lot about the Ascension. I've had spiritual readers come to me and say, you're a part of this. This is what's happening. This is why you dyed your hair purple. Anyway, it's a weird set of circumstances. So once you get the Ascension, one person said, once I heard about the Ascension, it was like all around me. Well, it is all around us right now. And in actual fact, some of the stuff I picked up from Rory Duff was the movement that our solar system made in 2018 to get out into the microparticles, the teeny tiny little subatomic particles. That's what they are. The subatomic particles are part of what's changing us and making us more aware of the ascension. And apparently, I was put here at this time to work with people about the ascension, to teach them the tools they needed for 4 and 5D. Grids are 4 and 5D. The garden is 4 and 5D. The eggs are 4 and 5D. And I've been told I have one more thing I'm going to bring in, and I have no idea what it is. One day I'll wake up and I'll know what it is, and you'll be the first to know if you watch my show. But I've been very fortunate, and I've met since I started my channel. You remember I started my channel last year in December, so it stewed around there for a while before we got it. Where Benny, can you say like U.S. Southwest, U.S. Florida, U.S. wherever, or what other part of the world you're in? Because she asked us to pray for their area, and I'm willing to do that. I just need to know who I'm praying. I mean, I pray for everybody every day, and I'd spend as much love and light, but if you got a real problem, let us know. We'll work on it. Anyway, that's kind of a closing out for the day. We're going to have one final thought. Where'd they go? Ah, I know they're here somewhere. My little flowers for my garden. So we're going to look at the language of flowers. And this is going to be our closing thought for the day. Oh, you're in Texas? Oh, yeah. Y'all can spend all the love and light we need. This state so needs it. And I'm not normally this way about people with disabilities, but I do call our governor, Governor Hot Wheels, because that man is a piece of work. And he does not care about anyone or anyone's children's. And my grandchildren live in this state and go to school in East Texas. Yeah, you are. Benny, you get special prayers because my friend Barbara lives right near Tyler. So, okay, this is the card I got for today. And I think it's really good with what we've been reading about. It's cooperation. And it's called a Stephanotis. If someone takes your hand, you can do it if it's offered or ask to have a hand offered, which is just exactly what Benny did. So, right now we need to send all the love and light we can to East Texas, and you can have it drip over into the Dallas area. We don't consider ourselves part of East Texas, but this whole state needs such a realignment. It's unbelievable, the amount of evil that crawls around this state. So, if you could love and light, there's actually a town in West Texas that the entire town is closed because all the police force has COVID. Their fire department, and I may be a volunteer one, has COVID. Everything. But the problem with living in Bexar County or in Dallas County or in Travis County or in Harris County, which is Houston, or in the county where El Paso is Bexar County is San Antonio, for those of you who don't know. And it's spelled Bexar. It's not spelled right. Anyway, the problem with living in those counties is we can't put a wall up around us and keep the counties out that are not vaccinating their people. And therefore, it makes it dangerous to go out here. The only reason I'm going to hand deliver the garden to the lady who lives here in Dallas is because she lives here in Dallas. I know where she lives, and Dallas is kind of a bubble if you stay with people that are only in Dallas. So, love and light to everyone who came through today. I hope if you lost I now know how to find all my comments, so I should be able to find them every day. If you have comments you want to end up asking me, you can put them in the comments. And I mean, I really feel for the woman whose comments been out there 7 months. Woo, it's a long time. And I want to acknowledge every single one of you. I want to thank you for those who've given me support today. Remember, readers are people too. They're part of the materialistic world. Yeah, I think AZ's recount is a dead deal, though. But you know, and I do hope things come to light that can help us all, and also pray for all the people who are escaping from Afghanistan that they can find a new life. Some of my best friends, one of my best friends' wife was a Cambodian boat refugee as a child, and I hope that people will mask. If you haven't been vaccinated, you will be. If you're going to need a third one, you'll go find it. And just thank you to everyone who's shown up. Skywalking, I'll go look for your email. We can get that set up. And if you want a reading, go to crystaldirections.com. It's got a page on there on how to get in touch with me for readings. And thank you all for being here today. Bye. Stop this.